On today's episode of The Savvy Marketer, I'll be talking to the sales whisperer, Wes Schaeffer. Now, Wes has been in sales or sales coaching for 26 years, and I've been in marketing for 23 years. So he and I are going to sit down and we're going to compare notes, and we're going to talk about some things that sales and marketing people can learn from one another. Whether you're in sales or you're in marketing or you're a leader who just wants your sales and your marketing people to work more effectively together, we're going to talk about one simple thing that everybody can do to kind of eliminate those adversarial relationships and to start hitting goals together. But first, a marketing moment. So when I have time, I sometimes get to play keys as a guest in a local band, and this band plays almost every night throughout the summer. And in this particular band, they have a really interesting policy. Whenever somebody comes up and requests, hey, why don't you guys play Freebird? And somebody often does come up and make that request. The band says this. They say, yeah, we'll play it for a $100 tip. That usually puts it to rest. Usually somebody doesn't want to hear the song that bad. People love to request the song Freebird, and most bands really hate to play it. I think because the song's overplayed and because most bands have played it so much themselves, they're just absolutely sick of it. So what in the heck does this have to do with marketing? Well, I think the Freebird principle is at play with marketing, and it often holds people back from getting the full results that they could. You may have a tagline or an ad or a jingle or a video, and maybe it's great. Maybe it's still performing really well, but maybe you're sick of it because you see it every stinking day. And so you assume that everybody else is sick of seeing it too. So you pull it, you swap it for something else. You go back to the drawing board and come up with a completely new idea. And maybe you're really excited about this new thing that you're going to launch. And it's possible the thing you build performs better than what you had before, but it's also possible, in fact, it's even likely that the new thing you roll out, the first draft of that new thing you roll out is not going to perform as well as that proven thing that you had before. Now, I'm not suggesting that you avoid trying new things, but I think the mistake that a lot of marketers make is they assume that it's time to throw away something old and replace it with something new simply because they're tired of looking at it. They assume that everybody else is tired of it too. Split test your new ideas while recognizing that that old thing that you're tired of may have a lot more life in it than you realize. And that is your marketing moment. So I'm excited to introduce today's guest, Wes Schaeffer, the Sales Whisperer. Wes, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And what caused you to start the Sales Whisperer?
I am a pig-headed, unemployable jackass because we're just keeping it real, right?
You're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, I was in corporate America for about a decade, and I was in technology sales, and I was in the telecom industry for a while, selling into that, and it was very chaotic in the early 2000s. And even though I was making good money, it was tumultuous. Lots of layoffs, reorganizations, and I went to a new startup, and same thing there, high flying, and then they bit off more than they could chew, and restructuring. I was like, man, this is a mess, right? But I was always studying and learning. I was buying courses and books and going to events, even if the company wouldn't pay for it. I was hungry to learn, and
yeah,
I took a 12-week teleclass. Man, you had to sign up in late 05. Back then, I mean, it was just different technology. It was a different company. It was like their only remote class. Everything else was in person. And, but man, there was no video. There was no social media. There was no Facebook groups. You got a PDF and 12 calls.
Yeah.
And I clicked with this guy, and he kind of became my sales mentor. I partnered with him, licensing his material, and that gave me the foundation to launch the Sales Whisperer. And it's funny. I got laid off. We were on vacation. We were camping at the river. In-laws were there. We had the boat, RVs, and they called me on my birthday on vacation to lay me off.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible,
jackass. So I'd laid the foundation, and I was already starting doing some little side things with the Sales Whisperer. So I went all in early 2007.
I wonder how many people. I also was in job transition shortly before starting. Actually, I'd been laid off, and then I started into another job, and I saw the writing on the wall. It's like they were 2 paychecks behind on paying me.
Oh, man.
And so it's like I started my company, and I just wonder how many people actually have all the things figured out versus just a big disruption like that causes somebody to get started.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people, unfortunately, they're blindsided by this.
So I'm interested, Wes, you have a background in the Air Force. Is that right?
Right.
Cool. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, man.
And how did you get into sales?
I jumped right in.
Was that right after the Air Force?
Yeah, I mean, I left the Air Force to jump into sales.
When you aren't working, what are you most passionate about?
Oh, man. As a hobby, I'd say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Otherwise, we got a big old family. I'll be a grandfather for the first time in a couple of months. Got one in June, one in August. 2 kids got married last year, and they're both having babies this year.
That's awesome. So I love the timing of our show. Last week's episode was about account-based marketing and talking about how to make sales and marketing work together. And I've been doing marketing for like 23 years. And
dude, you're old.
Like right out of college, is when I started doing marketing. And I'm talking to a guy who's been doing sales for what, 26
years.
Okay. So I think it's interesting. We're both, and I don't want to pigeonhole you either, because you do a lot of stuff with marketing as well and how these things work together. But I just think I like this conversation today as we're thinking with account-based marketing, how sales and marketing work together. And I think this is often a challenge that marketers and salespeople see the world very differently, and often it's hard for them to figure out how they can work together. And so why do you think it's so hard in a lot of companies for sales and marketing to make things happen together?
Yeah, they always struggle. It's a shame, but hey, if they got along, then you and I probably wouldn't have jobs.
How so?
Well, because they are bickering, so it's like they need outsiders to come in and augment what they do because they're not cohesive.
Yeah.
So like, okay, I'll come in and help you fix things, but I mean, some of it's human nature. If you read the E-Myth, Michael Gerber talks about the myth of being an entrepreneur. Most people are technicians.
Yeah.
With fits of entrepreneurism. So they are doers. They are creators of the widget. Then there's demand. Like, oh crap! Well, I got to have salespeople. I got to have marketing. And there's a lot of misconceptions out there about what is sales, what is marketing. Very few people will ever embrace sales. Oh, I'm an account executive. I'm a customer enjoyment evangelist. All these words. Like, oh, you're a salesperson. Oh, I'm not in sales. Everybody's in sales.
Yeah.
Right? You read in the Bible, right? When 2 or more gathered in my name, there I am. Well, when 2 or more people meet, someone is selling. Someone becomes the alpha in that group. You had to sell me. Hey, you want to be on my podcast? That's a sale.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. My wife will come home. Hey, you want to go out to eat? Somebody's got to, she's selling me, because
right.
she'll say, like, hey, do you want to, like the other day, it's like, do you want to run to Home Depot and get these things for the backyard? My answer was, yes, honey, I do. I just drop my stuff and I walk to the car. I'm like,
yeah,
a sale is being made. People, look, it's like fish don't understand that they're wet. Go look at your typical grocery store. The produce, I think 99 times out of 100, maybe 100 out of 100, is on the right-hand side because people are right-handed. We enter on the right hand and we drive on the right side of the road. We go to the right. We get the vegetables. Why do they put it there? Because they know, they've studied this. We've done something good, something responsible. So we reward ourselves as we walk through the store and we buy more junk that we don't need.
Yeah.
When you go to check out, what's at the checkout stand?
All the candy
right? Candy, gum, mints, ESPN magazines, Sports Illustrated, Cosmopolitan, National Enquirer, all the junk stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, those are all upsells. So we are always being sold and marketed to.
Yeah.
And so, but people, they'll fight it. Because they don't know. They don't understand that they're fish and that they're wet and that they're immersed in this.
Yeah.
And so, but the owner, right, the founder, doesn't know this because they're the professional widget maker, and sales and marketing is just the necessary evil, so they just let them go do it.
Right.
And then they have different goals, different metrics. You know, this happened to me with that startup I was talking about that moved me out here to California from Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
We were at a trade show in Vegas. It was a banking show. A prospect I had been calling on, they were from Monterey, and 3 of them walk up. And the marketing contractor we had interrupts our conversation and scans all 3 of their badges because she was paid by number of leads gathered at the trade show. The reality was that was the CIO that I already knew,
Yeah.
and 2 of his assistants. It's nice to have the names of the assistants, but think about that. If we extrapolate that over the course of an entire show, let's say she scans, 3,000 names.
Yeah.
Out of those 3,000 names, even 300 names, out of those 300 names, only 100 are valid.
Yeah.
So she just tripled my work
Right.
of people to follow up with.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
her metric was based on leads.
And my metric's based on sales. So then I say, Wes, why aren't you making your numbers? I don't have good leads. Hey, marketing, why aren't you giving good leads? I gave them 300 names from just one trade show.
Why didn't you close those sales?
So it's like, who's right? By the time I called through all 300 names, I was 2 weeks late, and I missed 2 big deals because I was calling all these that weren't well qualified. So people are on the same page, but it happens all the time at every company, all the time.
So when we think about that person at the trade show who's just scanning name tags to hit their marks, what do you think that marketing people fail to understand about salespeople?
Yeah, your top salespeople are some of the best put together people that you'll meet, right? Because they understand people. They understand motivation. They understand what makes people tick. Maybe it's just intuitive. Maybe they've applied themselves and grown intentionally. But great salespeople are great communicators. They build consensus. They minimize, chaos. And some companies will argue, that dude's a bull in a china shop. They're bringing deals in. They're doing something right. But it can make a mess. But that's a different topic. So why does any conflict arise between spouses, between neighbors, between countries, right? It's communication issues.
Yeah.
Maybe it's intentional. Maybe somebody's got an ego. They got a chip on their shoulder. They want to pick a fight. Most people are interested in themselves, right? What's in it for me? So people are following their own agendas. Of course, marketing doesn't understand sales, and most salespeople, 50% of salespeople are below average. Right?
It's interesting how that works.
All right, it's just math, and everybody just wants to make their number and go home for dinner, go home and binge, the latest Netflix series. The sales and marketing are no different than any other department, any other group of people. I do work at my church. There's issues inside the church.
Sure.
I volunteer, whatever, Chamber of Commerce, there's issues there. So
Yeah.
It's human nature.
I'm still thinking about this marketing person who goes to the trade show and just starts scanning name tags. Are the KPIs driving people to the wrong end? You've got marketing people who feel like, man, I want to keep my job. I got to deliver. went to this trade show. I need to go back and show that I got it done. And so to their credit, they hit their number because they had to hit their number. And
Sure.
now the salespeople are making these calls and to poor quality leads or whatever, things that aren't qualified. Yeah. Is there a better way?
Yeah. I mean, that's true in anything, right? There's the way the human brain works is, hasn't changed in tens of thousands of years. Deep down, the lizard brain is worried about getting the next meal.
Yeah.
So it defaults to jumping to conclusions. To marketers are like that. Salespeople are like that. Customers are like that. Hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you? No, we're not buying. They just shut you down.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. I've heard this before. Not interested. Because you opened wrong. So yes, the KPIs are typically wrong. Yes, because of silos and egos and communication breakdown. Really at the end of the day, it boils down to people skills. Great salespeople understand how to read people. I always tell my clients, we as salespeople have to adjust how we sell to match how the prospect buys. Mm-hmm. And you have to do just as much selling inside of your company as outside of your company.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to help your prospect sell inside of their company. Because look, you have a 1 hour meeting with them. The other 39 hours of that week, you're not there shaping that discussion. So how well did you arm that prospect, that champion, that internal coach to help
go
you
and sell it,
to make that sale? And then are you selling internally? It's like when I was with this test and measurement company, we were selling like fiber optic testing but selling test equipment. We had some demo gear, and I was supposed to have whatever, like 5 pieces, big and small. Dude, I'd have 20, 30 pieces. I'd have $500,000 worth of stuff because I was friends with the demo people.
Yeah.
I kept a good inventory, kept it updated, replied to them in a timely manner because they had to account for everything.
Yeah.
So I'm selling internally. And at that same company, I had a BlackBerry when BlackBerries weren't cool. You look goofy, right? Holding this big thing up to your head. People are like, oh, is that a shoebox, Wes? I figured I befriended the IT guys. And I think still to this day, when you get a phone, you get an email address from your provider.
Nobody really knows what it is, but it's in there.
You just don't need it anymore, right?
Yeah.
But back then, I convinced my IT department, because again, we didn't have IMAP, we didn't have a BlackBerry server, but they would BCC my phone email address. So I was getting emails on the road and responding immediately. Yeah, when I got to my hotel, I'd have to sync up and go delete and whatever, file away all those emails. But I was doing deals right away.
Yeah.
Didn't have to wait. And I was making my number because I sold internally to the IT department. And look, that was a 2-minute task for them. It wasn't a big deal.
Sure, but they liked you and they were happy to help you out with it.
They were willing to help.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to sell inside as well as outside. That includes selling the marketing department.
Yeah, good. And so I think one of the things that a takeaway here is that both marketing and sales have this survival mode, and maybe necessarily so in a lot of company settings. But one way to do it is to go at the other person and point fingers and get everybody riled up. And the other way would be you build rapport, you do all the things that you're trying to do with your sales prospect internally, and you figure out how you can help each other, how you can make each other look good, how you can build a relationship.
Crazy. Huh?
It reminds me, when I was in high school, I made great friends with the lunch ladies. Every time I went through the line, I said, man, you guys, I would go back up and say, you guys did an especially good job today. Like, I just really enjoyed the lunch. And so before long, they would put 2 cookies on my tray instead of 1.
Dude, so look, I was in high school. I went to this all-boy Catholic high school.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to type. And we had to have typewritten papers.
Yeah.
And my senior year, my dad, he was working in construction. And actually, second semester of my senior year, we were in Houston, and he had to go to Atlanta. So he left me the keys to the apartment, the checkbook, the keys to the truck. So I was on my own. I wasn't even 18 years old. But I befriended some of the secretaries at the school. Dude, they would type my papers during their work hours, during work.
That's awesome. So you had the youngest person to ever have a secretary, and it was at the school. I like it.
Yes. I got help. No kidding.
That's amazing.
1980, late 87, early 88.
That's great. And I'll tell you how mine ended, Wes. My last day of my senior year, I was sitting in class, and I had an announcement, and they said, would Jeremy Harrison please report to the kitchen? And I went down on my last day of school, and they made me I don't even remember what it was, but they're like, we're going to miss you.
Nice.
Good stuff. It pays. I think the lesson here is it pays to build rapport with the people that you're working alongside.
Be nice, have fun, right?
Yeah.
The golden rule, treat people the way you want to be treated. It'll all work out.
So, Wes, we're about out of time, but I really enjoyed talking with you, and it's gone really fast. I know I really enjoy seeing the things that you post on social, and you've always got a lot of good insights on there. How can people connect with you if they want to learn more about the Sales Whisperer and get to your content?
Just go there, the Sales Whisperer, saleswhisperer.com. Everything's there. My social media, my phone, ton of free tools. I'd recommend everyone check out the 12 Weeks to Peak program. It's a free accountability program, a free LinkedIn group, support you through that.
Cool.
I say welcome to the last hard quarter of your life. If you go through that program and stick with it and commit, you'll dial in your sales and marketing, and even your fitness and your personal life, and it'll be onward and upward from there.
Good stuff. I want to check that out too. So thanks for jumping on today, Wes. And
yeah, man, my pleasure.
Look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah, good to see you.
Hey, I want to thank you for watching today's episode of The Savvy Marketer. In every episode, we want to share stories and ideas that help marketing and sales leaders plan smarter strategy and build stronger teams. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share it with other people in your company and in your network who need to see it. Every episode of The Savvy Marketer is brought to you by Spire. We're an Ohio-based marketing agency that helps you sharpen your strategy, get that work done, and make your marketing hum. Take your marketing higher with Spire.